So the name of the game is rapid fire. We say a word, and then you say what immediately comes to mind. I get 5 words, and then JaVonne get 5 words, and you don't think about it. First thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay. You look shook, JaVonne.
Get set up. This is not good.
You're first, JaVonne.
Oh, I'm up first. Okay.
Okay.
Donuts.
The devil.
Oh God. All right. Freedom.
Elusive.
Music.
Forever.
Dancing.
Tonight. Can I get it?
Romance.
Can't live without it.
All right now.
Oh, okay. I'm up. Black people.
Beauty.
Melody.
Song.
Love.
Eternal.
Sex.
Tonight. Again, after the dancing. No.
God.
Forever, and ever, and ever, ever.
Thank you. Beautiful. That's amazing.
We love you so much.
Hi, this is Ultra Nate, and you're in the basement with JaVonne and Terez.
Nice. And for those who are asking, how did you get your name, please?
It's my birth name.
Okay. All right. Birth name.
Nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Nothing to do with it. That is all mom.
Nice.
Shout out to mom.
Did she ever tell the story? Did she ever tell you what the story was?
I know the story. I just can't share it on air.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'll never hear the end of it. Trust me. So those that know out there, my friends that know, like they're cackling right now, I'm sure, because it's a pretty.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna have to get close to somebody that's close to somebody that knows the story.
We'll get it.
Right.
What's up, everybody? This is Cy Smith, and you are in the basement with JaVonne and Terez. In the basement with JaVonne and Terez. In the basement with JaVonne and Terez. With the basement, hey, with JaVonne and Terez.
Ooh, I dig that.
Listening to and watching Brunch in the Basement with JaVonne and Terez.
Still in the basement, no longer alone, with my homegirl Terez on the microphone. Music, politics, or just chatting it up. Brunch in the basement, see, that's what's up. You never know who might run through. Legendary artist or someone brand new. You miss a lot when you miss one day. At least that's what I heard somebody say. But it doesn't really matter what whoever says. It's always a good show with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Brunch in the basement with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Let's see who we got today. Come on, everybody's a friend in my head. I already know everybody. Whatever it is, it's gonna be good. One day I'll tell you about me and Shaka Khan, but you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but she doesn't know anything about it. But anyway. No, she doesn't. She wasn't even there actually. But anyway.
All our bosses though, Jay. Like she's got our ears and
I'm gonna send y'all some people. I'll definitely get an address. I'll send y'all out.
You can send me some cologne, because I mean, you know.
Cologne?
Yeah.
I will
Just
do
in
that.
case I should meet Shaka Khan, I want to smell really, nice.
Oh God.
Okie dokie, babe. Whatever you say.
The time, so
And we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you. This part, that little piece, I'm just gonna keep and play it all the time for myself. But no, I'm just teasing. And I think it's time, Terez, to do a little rapid fire with Mr.
Ooh.
Richard Pryor Jr.
I think so. So
Yeah.
don't worry, we won't hurt you.
Rezzy Pooh.
That doesn't ever not get funny. That and and she wasn't even there. That will forever rent space in my mind. It makes me laugh every time.
Yo, yeah, there've just been so many instances when she wasn't really there. I gotta keep it real.
Silky.
What's been good with you, baby? Hey, Nathan James. Thanks for checking in.
Nathan, Happy New Year. So much going on, Silky.
Yes, and Happy New Year to you too, Rez.
Is it happy? Well, internally, my own sensibilities, but it's hard to be. It's a discipline to be. Let me just say, a discipline to be happy in a world so filled with ... You name it, it's there. We just have to figure out what floats us and stick with that and get rid of all fuckery and foolishness, because you can't have it everywhere else and personally too. So I don't know.
This is true.
Great luck to you all.
Yeah, it's difficult, and unless you are completely oblivious and disillusioned or bamboozled, if you have been bamboozled, which to my surprise a lot
when it's willful bamboozlement,
Yeah, but I mean the ignorance is deep, and it's amazing. I find it quite amazing that people that not everybody can see what the hell is going on at this point. Like, I know I oftentimes get upset, right? And I say, okay, so the thing that upsets me is that I was upset 10 years ago. I was mad, and I was doing everything I could at that time to let people know what the hell was going on. And, I think a lot of people took my rants and rages as just, I'm taking it too far and I'm watching too much Rachel Maddow.
Who makes sense.
So, yeah, I was basically on her tit because she wasn't just reporting and just giving her opinion, which they all do. Right. They all do. Right, left, center, right. Everybody gives their opinion or let their opinion be known in some kind of way.
True.
But what she did, which was different, which is why I was listening and paying attention to her every fucking night, is because she was giving history lessons, factual history.
That she does.
Like, like she would go back and she would draw the parallels, which you could clearly see. And then my black ass, my educated black ass, would go back and do my own research. See, I'm sorry. I think, and I don't mean to offend people.
No apologies necessary. This is your
I,
point of view.
it's just my perspective. And
Mhm.
and there were, I mean, like red flashing fucking lights. I mean, like, whoa, woo, woo. You know, we're about to, don't let it happen. You know, um, it was bad, and no, people were not paying attention. People were like, yeah, but that, you know, we got rights, motherfucker. What I'm saying to you, okay, and what is happening is
Right.
that what you think are your rights are about to be trampled on. You will have no rights. You may not have a life. This country, what you believe you see, what you the Constitution at that time, he was clear. It was anti-constitutional back then,
Mm-hmm.
10, 11 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure was.
And I was like, people, what are we doing? Hello, somebody, you know, we gotta make sure.
You know what?
I don't know. I feel like it was not willful ignorance, but I feel like it was, I do not like the word lazy. So I will say that people were not motivated to research and to really look into and get fired up. And that's why, and back then, and I'm also pissed with the Biden administration for not for trying to be all nice and, you know, we're gonna heal the whole country and I'm not gonna, man, fuck that. You cannot be that way with the devil. Okay?
Well,
Okay, see, I see what you did. 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 I see what you did, Rez. I see what you did. I see what.
no.
Nah. I see what you did. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Look. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If the man with the little mustache had been doing these things, he would be incarcerated. He would have been, we would have shut him down after the first term, after we realized, wait, that really is the little man with the little mustache. He just been hiding all these 50, 60 years or whatever. And now he's the president of our United States. Hey, and then he loses, and then the Biden administration would have locked the little man up with the mustache because we know his history. We know, we have proof. But at the same time, we know this guy's history. We know the playbook. We have the books. We see the history. Rachel Maddow is not the only one in these United States with a book, with a history book.
The crazy thing about it for me is that, you know, we have children that are coming into this. I don't want them normalizing this chaos, you know, because this will be all they know. And this will be all that they reckon reason from. They don't have the history of something else. They have to really go search for stuff that they're trying to whitewash. At the end of the day, it becomes ever so increasingly important for parents to pay attention to what is being fed to our children, because we won't, you know, because we ain't trying to fight in house, you know, with stuff that they're being taught or led to understand, given the current, you know, administration and the current policies and the current things that they're putting together and things that they're saying. You know, you got to do some real hard stops. You got to really do some real hard family time to make sure that you know, understand what's being taught, what's being said, and who your kids are around with opinions on these things. You know, like, and not that you shouldn't have, you know, anyway, but this becomes a double down or a triple down, if you will, to, you know, what's being said. You want to find out somewhere down the line, you know, your friend, your child is having sleepovers with like
Yeah.
Trumpers and MAGA. You don't want to find that out, as a matter of factly, if that is not your, your inclination to be.
Yeah.
So it's just ridiculous what's going on. And I get, I think about, I have some amazing, amazing children in my life and amazing, nieces and nephews, and whoo, just like, okay.
and which is why, Rez, I've started I had to step away from the news after watching it as intently and being as impassioned as I was about to have a nervous breakdown on the real, because what I realized about JaVonne Armstrong is that although I have always been aware of the ills of this nation, and there's a lot of ills, there always have been. My grandmother used to say, "Go ahead, be militant if you want to. Where you going? You going back to Africa? They don't want your ass there either." That's what my grandmother used to say. She wasn't lying. She was right. It's true. Right? But in as much as all of that is true, I'm also constitutionalist. So, and in as much as the Constitution has only allowed freedoms with caveats, because there is the caveat under which you could still be enslaved, and that's if you are imprisoned.
Correct.
The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, that is the law of the land.
Let me ask a question. And yes, Nathan, thank you for saying that. Overload is Trump's strategy, and he definitely wants you exhausted and dispirited. Thank you. I agree. And delusional. I'll add one more. Question with that. Can you help me understand? And because you're the wealth of knowledge here. Particularly as it relates.
Because I can't help you understand things I do not understand. But go ahead.
Okay. Well,
feel free to try.
Fair enough. When you say you're a constitutionalist, given what is written in the Constitution, can you define constitutionalist for me so that I understand and keep it in context?
Sure. For me, and I can only speak for me because I think being a Democrat for Nathan may be something different than being a Democrat for me. Being a Republican to you may be different. Obviously, a conservative Republican is different than a MAGA Republican, right?
Right.
So I can only speak about what being a constitutionalist is for me. For me, that means I'm neither Democrat nor Republican. Definitely these days, far from Republican. It means that I believe in the Constitution as the law of the land. And I believe that there are some portions of the Constitution
right
where there definitely could be some changes made. There should be some changes made to the Constitution, which is why we have amendments to the Constitution. They have been made throughout the years, and they can continue to be made. I believe that the Constitution is the overriding law that this country should be bound by. There should be 3 equal branches of government. Unfortunately, there still are 3 equal branches of government. It's just that they are all right now looking to do damage to this country, in my estimation. They are not, they are contrary to where we were going. However, as a constitutionalist, I believe that we have an opportunity to get back on track. And how I see this is sort of like, what do you call that? A slingshot.
Mm-hmm.
So with a slingshot, you take a pebble. That pebble being, I don't know, equal rights, equal protections under the law, um, environmental safety, and all of the good things that we as Americans have worked for centuries to get up to, right? Where we were is right at the place where, I'm sorry, y'all gotta say it, white men in power
Mm-hmm.
don't want us to go, because we're headed towards that trajectory. So they took that pebble of constitutionality, and they're going, the things that they're doing illegally are illegal within the Constitution, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're doing anti-constitutional things, which is, in my purview as a constitutionalist, anti-American, right? So here's my slingshot theory.
Okay.
So they take that pebble of constitutionality, they put it in the slingshot, and they don't understand that it is a slingshot, but they're pulling it back, right? So think the civil rights movement,
Mm-hmm.
and how all the marches and everything like that, but then they were hosing. That's them pulling it back. They were murdering. They were still lynching back then in the 60s, right? 50s. They're still doing it. They're doing it again now, right?
Just a different way.
Just a different way. And they're actually literally lynching people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
That's the pulling back. But what they don't understand is that this is going to have to give way. This cannot stand. And when you let go, because you're going to have to, because I believe, as all of the elections have been showing thus far, the special elections in deep red states, there have been blue waves. Like, by big margins, Democrats have been winning. So that tells me that even in the red states, a lot of people who may have not voted in the past, maybe, are now voting because they find it necessary to do so, to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And our guest today is one of those people who won in a 20-year red state,
Mm-hmm.
or place, county.
Mm-hmm.
She turned it blue, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is going on. And I believe that the midterms are going to be the same way. So that means they have to let go. And when they do, the pebble that started here is going to go forward. So I have that hope for the future.
Yeah. I am. It's hard for me to, and thank you for the explanation of constitutionalist, because I struggle there with the Constitution, just starting off as not being a multicultural body of people that put it together, right? They're still operating, or they're gathered here today, or gathered there that day, days to make what we know as the Constitution. But it was only from one framework, one frame of reference, and as if they just, the same thing. We got what's brilliant about this whole thing is that the history is coming full circle, right? The same thing that they did to America, though the Americas, right, is the same thing Trump just did to Venezuela. You go someplace and take it over and stake your flag and say, hey, you know what? And to add insult to injury, you fly people back to New York and put them on trial under your jurisdiction and under your thumb, right?
Colonizers will colonize.
Yeah. So if you ever had a question of what that looks or feels like, you got it right in modern day time, right? So there's no one that can say that you don't understand what that's like. So even if you weren't back there, when the Constitution was being, or when Americas were being discovered, when Columbus and his ship came over, right? You certainly do understand what that must have felt like to people that were already there or to people that were living under their, their own systems. So you get a body of white wigged men together, and they're making these laws for the land. And at that time, if I'm not mistaken, and Jay, I rely on you to correct me.
I know the grade, but I'm not that old.
Well, I'm just saying, because if I say something that's a little left of center, reel me back in. Okay, but back then, I mean, we were known as chattel, right? Is that?
Yeah. So were children.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out how, and yeah, there are amendments, but we, the people, were not a part of or considered to be part of whatever this corporation decided it was going to do. Hence, living under a bunch of governed lands that weren't for or by us, we weren't even included. In fact, what we were included as being is chattel. So that, for all people who don't know necessarily what that is, it's the help. Property. We were property, Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It kind of says I understand how we need these things now to keep certain situations and people together, but to someone who gives zero fucks about it, as we see demonstrated in modern day time, where do we go? Because I think a lot of people are asking at this point, why does he keep getting away with it? And yes, we keep watching him do stuff. Nothing is happening to him. It's been reported on ways we can impeach. It's been reported on ways we can do so many things, but it just seems like we're
I feel like the answers are all there and people just don't.
Yeah, they are allegedly.
But here's the thing. First of all, what we must do is the same thing they must do. We must leave the past in the fucking past. We have to leave the past in the past.
What part of the past?
The part where why the Constitution was made. Here they are talking about the Constitution was made for white men to be white and to have white rights and white and the white and the white. Here we are saying the Constitution was made for the white man and the white and the white and the white. I don't care where the fuck it was made and why it was made. It stands to this day that this is the law. This is the law. And clearly, this whole administration is breaking the law. If it were not for any document, and it's, it is the document of the country. It's supposed to supersede everything.
But it's for them, by them.
But
they can change it. It's like my party, my rules.
But here's the thing. Nobody's changed anything. The issue is that he was allowed to not be incarcerated by the Biden administration trying to play nice with the devil. You cannot do that.
Frame that. I mean,
what I mean by that is that, and some people would say, oh, they were gathering evidence. They weren't gathering evidence. They already had the evidence. There was the January 6th committee. There was the 34 count felony. He should have been incarcerated. Period.
Sure. Absolutely. Period. Why they didn't send the people?
Why they didn't do it? I get why they didn't do it, but it was the wrong call.
Nobody gets why they didn't do it. Why didn't they do it?
So they didn't do it. Don't say nobody, because some people do get it. And his reason at the time is it would have looked as though the Biden administration was locking up a political adversary. And he didn't want to be the first American president to lock up a political adversary.
He was more than a political adversary.
Right.
That's one way of looking at it.
Right. But he was also concerned about not causing a civil war where people who are Trumpers are such staunch believers, and I agree with this.
I agree with you, Nathan.
But this is why I blame Biden. I blame him for this, because he could have locked them up. Now, that's one thing. So you ask a lot of questions, and those questions take a lot of explanation for those who also may have these questions. And yes, thank you. So first, let me stop and smile. This smile is for Poppy Chulo. Okay? Thank you, Pop. And he's right. The views, information, or opinions expressed during Brunch in the Basement series are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of WJBR, Internet Radio, nor any of its affiliates. Happy New Year to you, too. Okay, so the whole big issue here, and I believe there was some flim-flamming with the machines.
Oh,
I really believe that 100, but that's just my belief. I don't know what, if anything, they could have or would have, should have, could have done about it, but it would have, could have, should have been done. That's just my belief also. In the meanwhile, the House of Representatives and the Senate together have the power to impeach and remove. The House of Representatives acts as a jury. Okay? You bring the evidence to them. The House goes over the evidence. They question. There's an attorney, sort of, not an attorney, but there's somebody who speaks on behalf of the president or whatever, or whoever's being impeached. And then there's those who speak for the people. They have a vote. They take a vote, just like any other jury. They take a vote, and then they come to their decision. For example, twice they took the vote because I believe, yes, there was a majority of Democrats in the House during his first run. They voted to impeach him twice. Now, the job of the Senate is the job of the judge. The judge, in every case, determines what the outcome is going to be. What is going to be the punishment if there is an impeachment or a conviction. So to be impeached is to be convicted by the House. Make sense?
I'm with you.
The Senate is the judge that says, okay, you have been impeached, you have been convicted. Now, your sentence is either going to be removed or not. It was Mitch McConnell who was at that time the head of the Senate, because why? There was a majority of Republicans in the Senate. That's right. The majority voted not to remove him. That's what happened. And that is, wait, before you time me out, that was where the glitch was. Had there been a fair and impartial Senate, he would have been removed. Had there been, I'm not just saying like, oh, Democrats versus Republicans. I'm saying Republicans with a fucking pulse. Anybody. If it had been Joe Blow America with the evidence, or as a judge, any judge, after if not the first, the second impeachment, he would have been gone.
Mm-hmm.
But because Mitch and the Republicans had an agenda that he is carrying out, they kept him. And they said, what did he say? He said, the public, well, it's almost election time again, and the public will rule. And then the public voted in Biden. And then they voted his ass back in again.
You see where this gets real tricky, and and you do and understand it so eloquently, and I see the glitch being Mitch McConnell himself. The fact that they even keep propping this man up, this AI version of whatever this was, up, is beyond anything to me. Like, to watch this play out, and to watch people just stand and act as if, is probably the most brilliant pieces of theater I've ever seen in my life. And again, I do not want this normalized for our children, because this is the chaos that they are living in without any other opposing understanding of how things are supposed to work. This looks like the chaos that they will normalize, and that's what's scary to me. Like, we all long in the tooth. We some old motherfuckers, okay? So we all know, what this is, and we're all repulsed by it. But for those that are growing up in this, where all they know is the internet, all of that stuff, it scares me, because then what are we perpetuating? A generation of people that we look like the naggers, as opposed to what actually it is and could be, the whole quote unquote promise that has never been fulfilled, and then we always look like people that are dwelling in history to try to make a point, when in fact this is chaos, and there's not enough people angry about it, to me. And like, that's why people like Jasmine Crockett and Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow and so many others, and even Don Lemon at this point, stand out to me, because they are becoming the voices that need to be heard and not just them. There's so many other, like, I like the Young Turks too, when they start screaming. So it's like, we just need this just to stop, because y'all don't like what he's doing, and he's talking about midterms, and we all know if we break out into full-bodied war, we ain't getting no midterms. You can kiss midterms goodbye.
We'll still get a midterm. We'll still get the midterms. We've had
guaranteed of anything with this administration.
We've had elections during wartime before, so if that happens, he'll be very hard pressed to make that happen, especially since the House of Representatives right now is there. The Republicans' stronghold on it is razor thin.
I think we need to. I agree with what you said before, JaVonne, in terms of we need to. I think that our stuff is so logical, right? As it should be, in some cases, that I think that that's what's hurt us, because we've said, and in similar tune, or he can't do that because, and when he does it, we sit there like, and it takes us forever to get over the fact that we've just been run over. Yeah, he did it anyway.
And here's the thing too, a couple of those MAGA Republicans have started to turn away from him. This thing with Venezuela, this recent terrible incident with this young lady, and all of these horrible things that are going on, and the prices are going on. Do you know I can't find Brussels sprouts? When I go to restaurants, which I tend to do for dinner, they have Brussels on the menu, and you can't get them. They don't have them. Every restaurant in my area.
But
now I'm ordering them just for the fuck of it, just to see.
Incidentally, it has been over 50 people that have been shot and killed by MAGA, you know. Just for the framework and reference, you know, we lost one. Actually, we lost before the young lady was murdered and captured. We lost one black male on the 31st, right, you know, of December. So like this is like 50 some odd people that have been shot and murdered by ICE. Just to be clear, you know.
Yep. And you know, to Pops, this right here with Nixon, he left because he knew he would have been removed.
They gave him the option.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't you see? And that's what I'm talking about.
But here's the thing, because of the morals that were precedent back then, we have moved away from that. Remember, women were barely wearing pants in 1974.
So you do some egregious stunts. You're not a crook, but you get the option to resign because of optics.
Most Americans at that time had a problem with that, but he had to be removed, and he knew he was going to be removed, so he left without.
They gave him the option,
right?
So they gave him the option to do so without you know, like there's a saying, right, that you are free to do whatever the fuck you want to do, you can do whatever you want to do. The sky's the limits. However, you cannot do whatever you want to do without consequence. So
his consequence was that, number one, he had to give up his presidency, which he had. It's almost like you got to give back the money and go to jail, or you just got to give back the money and leave, but you're giving back the money. And he went down as Richard Nixon in history forever.
Tricky Dick. Hey, Kimberly.
You know, hey, Kimberly. Good to see you, hon. So, yeah, you know, the consequence may not be what we wanted it to be for Nixon, but there was a consequence. He was no longer the president. These people, they do not believe in serving up consequences. These Republicans, because there's people who are like, oh, I'm tired of the Democrats not doing nothing. There's not a damn thing they can do. But a lot of the people that's complaining were not doing the voting. Okay? So there was something you could have done to ensure that they could have done something.
Yeah, I had to pump. I have mostly a lot of kitchen conversations, particularly folks that decide that politics aren't for them. And I'm like, listen, everything that you do is political, you know, to some degree or another, you know, figure it out.
Like the fact that I can't get Brussels sprouts. Political. For real.
Yes. Rest in peace, Keith Porter, to the family and friends of Keith Porter. Thank you, Pop. That was the man that was killed in Los Angeles on New Year's Eve by an off-duty immigration and ICE person.
And you know,
ICE maggot.
Anyway, you know, look. Speaking of that, yeah. How about we do one of our things that we do here? Let's have a Black History moment. Can we do that? Because you said something really important, Rez, that our young people growing up will think that this is normal, because this is getting normalized.
Well, right? Because they're not teaching. See, you can only teach about, you know, you have that thing in school called current events, right?
Right.
And because they're trying to whitewash the history books, then that means they're only talking about what's going on right now, you know, and the understanding of what's going on right now. And this, I do not want to be normalized. So that becomes increasingly more, you know, increasingly more important that people in your household are having these conversations to steer your kids in the direction, that they understand and can have empathy for others and also be able to sort this out, because it's a lot. It's a lot for adults to sort out, because the obvious questions that kids can always get to is, but why? And it won't make any sense, because it don't make any sense to us. It doesn't make any sense to them,
So 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
First, Pop, I'm not looking to cook them. I'm looking to go to the restaurant and get them to eat.
You want to roast them? Oh,
no, I don't cook. Y'all should know that by now. Trying to have me burn down Cheryl's nice little townhouse.
Who still has Brussels sprouts though? At least last time I was there was Houston's.
How long ago were you there?
Maybe
yeah.
months.
I'm talking about recently.
Not 2 months. That's not recent.
Yeah, that's kind of recent. I want to give a shout out to Eugenia Jenkins Brooks, who on Facebook says certain portions of the public voted for their issues without thought for what's wrong with that. As we can see, they are good with their choice as things continue unchecked.
Yep. She's right. She's right.
Some are waiting for Black people to be their conscious and step up, pay the price of loss of life, and save the day so they won't have to. They are right where they need to be. They know what they need to. They want their racist system to prevail, and so they are willing to let all this rock.
It's like, I'll burn it down before you get it. And the thing is, like, anybody ever say, y'all know, and a lot of folk in the institution, they know what they deserve. And they, based on, what they've done globally, not just to America either. This is a global colonization of sorts,
Yeah.
He went to Venezuela on some Middle Passage shit.
And now he's trying to go to Greenland.
And my question is, okay, y'all are still stuck in places. Y'all still can't get home. You still can't fly to the Caribbean. You still can't do all that. That's still dead. Y'all still trying to figure out. And nobody won't snatch him by the wiglet and bring him up out of there? Nobody won't get Peabody? Okay.
And as to your answer, only God knows, Kimberly. As to your question, only God knows. He
Pretty
thinks
much.
he's running Venezuela, but
Pretty much.
Yes. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I can't.
Well, it's in the words of I forget which housewife said it, first, but who's gonna check them, boo? I'm looking for it to happen, and folks are acting like at this point.
Okay, so Rez, you just had me go through a whole diatribe. What is the answer to that?
Still waiting.
So
I don't see evidence of it. I hear you. I just don't see evidence.
Evidence of what?
Evidence of him being dragged out by the toupee and put in a jail.
How did that happen?
Tampa. Huh?
Being that the House of Representatives is the majority Republican under his thumb, and they agree with him, they like what he's doing, or they're afraid they're going to lose their job, whatever it is. Being that the Senate is under him, with the majority being Republicans, being that he unconstitutionally, mind you, has a majority in the Supreme Court. How is it that he can be removed? Now, I'll put the question back to you. I've answered it.
I guess he can't. I guess he can't.
But
because the people that know and watch him,
not today, but in the near future, he can. And how can that happen?
Lady Eloise needs to be out of there. Thank you. I love you, Chulo. I love you, Chulo. I do. Lady Eloise needs to be out of there. And I think that, the midterms are the only option that we have now.
Thank you, Nathan. Nathan wins. I don't know what you win, Nathan, but you won the prize. And only if every single solitary person, everybody votes. Okay?
But I want Eddie to drag him out with his panties off. I do. I do. I think that he just needs to be publicly humiliated and dragged out of here because we are the laughing stock of the free world at this point.
And we will be. And we will not be trusted by our allies regardless.
We shouldn't be.
Right. Because, oh, America did it before, you'll do it again. And we did it again.
And then if we didn't, even if they isolate it to being this one administration, this one being, they're gonna say, you guys let him do this.
Exactly.
You let him do it. So I mean, how do we trust the fact? What is an ally? What do we define an ally to be at this point?
Exactly.
Mess. And unfortunately, it becomes a subtle adulteration of our children to let them know, listen, I know you may have heard X, Y, and Z, or your teacher may have said X, Y, and Z. Let me share something with you so you can understand in your way the full picture, or at least the portion of the picture that's necessary for them to, I don't know, just be educated.
So let's
opposed to indoctrinated.
Let's talk about that, Rez, because you mentioned about educating our youth. You talked about educating our youth.
Informing them of,
Right?
We go into a Black History moment.
Oh, yeah. We're going to go into a Black History moment. I wasn't ready in that moment, but yeah, we could do that. But what you were saying earlier was that so that our youth, it is our responsibility to educate ourselves and the youth. It is no one else's responsibility. It is not the public education system's responsibility to educate your children, your grandchildren, your nephews and nieces and great nephews and nieces about our history. We have to get back to word of mouth, whether it be by song, by literature, or by movies, or by catching us whenever you can and us giving you a Black History moment and you passing it on.
Or I mean, at this point, I'll take a history moment of something that, and we don't even have to deem it Black history, although that should never go anywhere, because it's important to understanding the fabric of this society and culture, right?
I'm going to give a quick plug for something I've started, and actually I had it it was sort of not out there for everybody in the public, and if you're not friends with me on Facebook, then you probably have not received a personal invitation from me. I started a Blackucation, which is a film club. It's just a Black film club, and all the films are not Black. And for those of you who are in the film club, I'm just gonna let you know, coming up are films that are not Black made and all this other stuff. Like Gone with the Wind is one of the movies that's going to be the movie of the month, and it's not viewed as a Black film. Personally, I love Scarlett O'Hara. She slaps the shit out of everybody in the movie. She doesn't give a shit who you are, what your color is. If she don't like what you said, Scarlett's gonna slap the shit out of you. I love her for that. I can't do it. she be slapping people. She's like, I mean, she just goes for it. But anyway, that's not the point. Don't slap people. But yeah, Blackucation. Look it up on Facebook. If I'll open it up for the next week. Actually, We are this month watching Roots, but not the 1977 version of Roots. We are watching the 2016 version of Roots, and then we have a Zoom call and we discuss it. And
2016?
2016.
Which one was that?
It's a 2016 version of Roots. See, Rez, and you are on the list. I mean, you.
I am, and and you're actually reminding me of that. So I want to thank you.
Yeah. So go check out the thing. It just if you recall, in 1977 we had censorship, and things were truthful, but by 2016 censorship is gone, and there are more parts of what was going on back then that is shown in this movie. It's really, really, to me, a good updated version. It still speaks about Kunta Kinte and his family.
Was that the next generation? Like,
not the next generation. It is the original story reimagined.
Really? I don't think I've seen that then, because I'm thinking 2016. That's.
But you know what? Of everybody, you know me, Rez, and you know if I do something, I'm doing it.
Yes.
Right? Other people should sleep on me because who am I? Joe Neckbone. But you shouldn't sleep on your girl. Little homie know what's going on.
I got to find it now. Now I gotta find this.
Okay, you don't have to find it. In the group Black Ucation on Facebook, I have exactly where you can see it.
Okay, so you're being, I think I just saw Kimberly ask how she can find you on Facebook.
My name is JaVonne Armstrong, but the group is Black Ucation.
Spell that, please.
BLACKUCATION.
Okay, just like it sounds, Black Ucation. Black Ucation. Okay.
We're gonna have a quick Black History moment, and you know what? More so, not only Black history, but whoever you are, whatever you're interested in, find it. Whether it be women's rights, look, I'm a big advocate for women's rights. Find that RGB movie. Okay,
that was a good one.
That shit is good. There are women. There are white women out there who are anti-DEI. Are you fucking kidding me? Watch that movie. Watch that movie. And then walk away from that movie telling me you're anti-DEI. Come on. It's your own story. It's you. You're the one who benefits from DEI. Right? Veterans. Come on. Come on, son.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let me get this. And as soon as we're finished with this Black History moment, Jess Branas is here with us. And we're gonna talk some more about these politics. Damn it. Okay, today in Black History, we will discuss the man who spoke to plants. Yes, okay, good. Groovy. You see him.
Have you ever heard of a man who could speak to plants? A man who was born into slavery, yet became one of the greatest scientists America ever produced? This is the untold story of George Washington Carver, the man who turned simple peanuts into power and poverty into possibility. Born sometime around 1864 on a small farm in Missouri, George entered this world in chains. His mother was kidnapped by raiders when he was just a baby, and she was never seen again. He grew up weak, frail, and alone, but with one extraordinary gift, an unbreakable curiosity about nature. While other children played, George studied flowers, leaves, and soil. He believed that everything in nature spoke, if only you listened closely enough. People laughed at him, a poor black boy talking to plants. But those whispers of nature would one day change the world. After slavery ended, Carver walked miles just to find schools that would accept him. He faced rejection after rejection because of his skin color, but he never stopped learning. His faith was unshakable, his purpose unstoppable. Eventually, he became the first black student, and later the first black professor, at Iowa State Agricultural College. But his true calling came when Booker T. Washington invited him to teach at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. There, Carver found his mission, to help poor farmers trapped in endless poverty. The soil had died from years of planting cotton, so Carver taught them how to plant peanuts, sweet potatoes, and soybeans to restore the earth and their lives. From those humble crops, he created over 300 products from peanuts, from soap to ink to fuel, and more than 100 uses for sweet potatoes. Yet when asked why he never patented his discoveries, Carver simply said, "God gave them to me. How can I sell them to someone else?" He refused wealth and fame. All he wanted was to serve, to heal the land and uplift his people. When he died in 1943, the world lost a scientist, but gained a legacy. His work proved that even the smallest seed in the right hands can change the course of history. George Washington Carver once said, "When you do the common things in life in an uncommon way, you will command the attention of the world." And he did. This story was narrated by Amer Adam. And if you love stories that awaken the soul, reveal truth, and honor the forgotten heroes of history, then welcome to Untold Chapters, where the past still speaks.
Nice.
All right, so one more thing I wanted to say about him.
George Washington Carver.
George Washington Carver. He developed hundreds of new uses for crops like peanuts, sweet potatoes, and soybeans, transforming them into products like milk, flour, dyes, plastics, cosmetics, shampoo, face powder, hand lotion, wood stains, axle grease, rubber, and medicinal oils, helping Southern farmers create new markets and improve their economies. He created over 300 uses for peanuts and 100 for sweet potatoes, including items like chili sauce, instant coffee, vinegar, and even a type of gasoline. If you go to Google, you can find a whole plethora of useful everyday items that Mr. George Carver,
George Washington Carver.
George Washington Carver, excuse me, invented. The man was awesome. And speaking of Carter, this horrible news just popped up. We lost the great actor T.K. Carter. I'm so sorry to hear that. So sorry to hear that.
Ooh, yeah.
I know. I was saying the other day that, because I've been going to so many funerals recently, that if you live long enough, if you love hard enough, if you are loved, the longer you live, the more goodbyes you will have to say.
Wow, Jay. Yep.
That's just the truth.
Rest in peace to the friends and the family of Terence K. Carter, known as T.K. Carter. And you've seen him in a gazillions of things, particularly like, I think, what was, it'll come to me. But yeah, just,
Yeah, it's a lot. So now I have the honor and the privilege to introduce to you, and I have gotten lost on my computer. Here I am. The remarkable Jess Branas.
What's up, ladies?
Hey, Jess.
Long time no see.
Yes, welcome back.
In fact, the first time I was on your show with you guys, you did a Black History moment.
Mm.
And so it's kind of apropos that we have this coming around today. And when I was a kid, I remember doing, when you're a little kid back in the 80s, we would do book reports. And I did a book report on George Washington Carver.
Wow. Amazing. But check this out. The last time you were here, I didn't have this.
Love.
Welcome. So a lot is going on in the world, and a lot is going on in Upper Darby.
Well, I am no longer in Upper Darby.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I had last time I was on, I was one of the council members of Upper Darby Township. As of mid-October, I ended up resigning to move back to my home turf of Lancaster County, where I was born and raised. And obviously you can't serve if you don't live there, so I did have to resign, but now we're looking at running for Pennsylvania House and looking to flip the district.
Wow. Okay, so
big stuff.
Yes, big stuff. So please tell us a little bit more about what this position would be like, because I think that a lot of people don't understand. Is that a part of the House of Representatives? Would you be going to DC, or is this just a Pennsylvania type position?
Okay, so this would be for the Pennsylvania House, which when you have the House and the Senate, we call it the General Assembly. So it is the state government. So it's not the congressional government that would go to DC. We have 203 representatives in the House, Pennsylvania State House currently. So, a lot of people don't understand the different acts of legislation, whether it's a statewide legislation or whether it crosses the bounds into federal government. And so here, this is where we concentrate on certain things such as Medicaid, where the federal government handles Medicare. So we do have to work in conjunction, but here in the state of Pennsylvania, of course, the capital is Harrisburg. That's where my post would be when I win. And I used to work for the House of Representatives. I was a director of a legislative district, so I am very well versed.
My geography is all the way off because I thought that Philadelphia was the capital. God, I have to.
Philadelphia at one time in history was the capital. And in fact, so was Lancaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Harrisburg. How do you? All right. Well, okay. Maybe that's a question for another day. But how in the hell do you keep changing capitals? That's kind of interesting.
I love the fact that Philadelphia was the birth city.
Right. City
of this, absolutely, of the state and of the nation. But from what I would think, and don't quote me on this, but from what I would think, a lot of state capitals, think of New York, it's Albany, right? California is Sacramento. Tallahassee is Florida's. Harrisburg. It seems like the states have a central location, maybe because they get spread out to all the areas from a central location, but also in times of war, the last thing you want to have is a capital on a coast or a port city. It's kind of like it keeps it a little bit more secure than, let's say, New York City would be. If anybody wondered why New York City is not the capital of New York, that might be a reason.
Makes sense.
That would be my theory.
Makes sense. So now,
it's a lot. There's a lot going on, ladies.
So before before we get into what's going on in the world, right? I just really want to focus in on you, right? Okay. And I really want to know why on God's earth would you want to venture deeper into politics? Because this is bigger.
That's rhetorical.
But you know, this is a big thing. The state house.
Yeah, surprisingly, so here in Pennsylvania, it's really amazing how it works. Right now, we have a very slim majority in the state house. The Senate is controlled by the Republican Party. So, surprisingly, if you actually watched committee meetings, when it's hot topic issues, there is definitely a divide, but there is a lot that we actually do on a bipartisan level, which I like. Sometimes things have to be compromised so the end result is not as fast enough as I would like it to be, whereas other, residents here would like it to be. But it does show that two sides can work together, and I think that's the beautiful part of the Commonwealth here. The Keystone State. And it can, if people actually paid attention, it could give them a sense of, okay, people are trying to do the right thing. Because whether you debate on the floor and how you debate on the floor, I could tell you, and I've spent many, many times working there in my previous role. At the end of the day, there may be an event that we're all at. And you're asking about somebody's kids and their family and how's everything going and how's your wife's health. And, so people don't actually get to see that part of it, which is pretty amazing.
But here it is that you have relationships, like working relationships, right?
Correct.
And maybe during pre-debate of a topic, let's just say LGBTQ rights, right?
That's a big one here right now.
Right? So pre-debate, you're having these hey, how's your wife? Oh, she's great. How's your mom? I saw your brother. Oh, yeah, everything's great. And then you get on the floor and people are trying to vote your rights away.
Yeah.
People are saying that you and your relationship is unnatural or, a sin against God and we are God-fearing blah, blah, blasey blues and you are not.
And that's the point where you have to state your case, state the facts, and call it out. And it's a shame, and it does happen quite often. It does happen, and there are some people where I have heard, especially from the other side of the aisle, during even like the committee meetings, the smaller meetings before something goes to the floor, and some of the comments that I hear are, to me, absolutely offensive. I don't know if it's always somebody's personal belief. I think we've gotten to a point in politics where things are just clearly party lines, which is sad because it's not helping anybody.
Right.
And so one of the reasons why I decided to do this, and I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've been working with the Lancaster County Democrats for quite some time now, even before I relocated here. And I think I, like a lot of people, are just tired of the politics part. Politics is the game. Politics is the crap that you're going to see on TV, the stuff that you're going to read in the media, the I'm blaming you, you're blaming me. And the original intent was for public policy, which means listening to the people that you serve and hopefully creating legislation around that's helpful to them. My problem is, when did money become free speech? That is my issue. Because when we're talking about something as basic as lowering utility bills, and when I lived in Delaware County and when I served there, you would look at your bill from your electric company or gas company or water company, and you started to see, and it was funny because a constituent had brought this up to me, who was in fact Republican. And he said, why is there like a mandatory fee that says customer charge. We're already charging for the service. We're already being charged for the service. We're already paying taxes on that service. And now they're thanking me for being their customer by charging me a mandatory $20 a month. Now, that's $240 a year for him. Imagine if you have 100,000 customers. Those electric companies or utility companies are making a lot of money. The problem is that when legislators have donors that are those companies, how are they going to sit there and fight for you instead of fight for those companies' profits?
Right. Good point.
It doesn't make sense. And I think there are times where a lot of people are just uninformed, and it takes some talking. I mean, there are going to be people who just absolutely, hands down, won't vote for me and will never vote for me for whatever reason. But it doesn't mean that I'm not going to try and help them anyway when I'm there. And that's the point.
Yeah, that is the point. And unlike some raging maniacs who are like 5 years old emotionally, like Lady Eloise.
Lady Eloise, I haven't heard you say that in a long time.
Yeah, you don't just serve the people who like you.
Right.
Now, Delaware County was such an enigma. And again, I flipped the seat from red to blue. And I remember having a neighbor, and she was telling me back in like the 70s and 80s, she was trying to get a job with the county. And at the time, it was highly Republican. Now they're pretty safe blue. But she had to change in order to get a job with the county. She had to change her political affiliation.
Wow.
I mean, and that happened back then. And I don't care if you're Republican, Democratic, Independent, Libertarian, Green Party. The things that we're going through today, unemployment doesn't care what party you are.
Sure doesn't.
Cancer doesn't care what party you are.
Sure doesn't.
There comes a point where you have to say, listen, this is way beyond political lines here.
Right.
And that's what I'm aiming to do.
When you talk about flipping the county from red to blue, I remember when you were here before, that was quite an amazing feat because it had been historically red.
Right.
How much time was it that it was red? How much time had it been since it had been blue before you won the county?
Well, I won the township, not the county.
The township.
So we'll put
Clarify.
that into perspective. But the actual district that I ran for, it was the first time, I believe, in 75 years. Now, this particular seat, I don't believe has ever been held by a Democrat. Now, there has been gerrymandering through the years and changing of the district. So prior to 50 years ago, I don't know what it looked like. I mean, I'm just turned 49 now, so I was just a baby if it was any different before. But it's not impossible to do. I mean, we have seen this happen, and it's not. I don't like to look at it as flipping the seat from red to blue. I like to look at it as flipping it to where you have a legislator that is actually working for the hard people of Pennsylvania, the hardworking people of Pennsylvania. That's what it's supposed to be. And this particular district is so unique because we have a lot of agricultural industry in the Amish community here.
Nice.
We have a huge tourism industry right here in the middle of the district where I live. We have the suburbs where I grew up. And you also have, what we call the bear claw. So it goes like underneath where we have one of our universities. It spreads out to where the Susquehanna River is. And that has a lot of telling effects in this area with a data center going up and using 3 Mile Island, which melted down in 1979, being reopened up by Bill Gates and Constellation Energy. We have just a whole a whole bunch of new aspects that we have to tackle here.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it seems like you have your finger on the pulse of the community and the township and the county and
Oh yeah.
what?
Lancaster's my heart. I mean, it is. It's a beautiful land. It's wonderful people. Um, you know, you can't sit here and say, as somebody in Lancaster County, that you don't love this area, no matter who you are.
I have some friends in Lancaster County.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've been there for a minute, and they enjoy it outside of the outskirts of actually Philly.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. What would be some of the things like give me three things, Jess, that and I'm happy you're running.
Thank you.
I think it's necessary.
Mhm.
I think that, and there's this myth that's perpetuated that just because you're maybe you subscribe to a particular party, that you cannot have bipartisan views on things that bring us together. I
Correct.
mean, Republican doesn't mean enemy,
Mhm.
for those that are Democrats, that they, and it should not mean the same thing.
Mhm.
But I think that, in this country, we're a little beyond, JaVonne always corrects me when I say, the same plane, two different wings. But the reality is we are going in the same direction. We have two different opposing paths to get there. Um,
Correct.
but this administration is outside of all of that, in my opinion,
Yeah,
outside
of
of
course.
humanity, and it's just, I've down to vocabulary and words.
Mhm.
I've never seen people with just a tremendous disregard for humans. So we just have
Mhm.
to get back to what we knew, um, or reinvent what we want to see,
Yeah.
because sometimes even using the term get back to what we knew, that may not be appropriate either. I think that there's a new way of governing that we can all live under comfortably, to make this country something that it wanted to be, or subscribed to be. I don't think we've ever gotten there.
Yeah. It's a shame that during our 250th anniversary this year that this is where we are. I never thought in a million years. It was funny. My high school class, class of '95 here in Manheim Township in Lancaster County. Back then, they made VHS tapes for
Hmm.
the class members, like covering the year, celebrating the graduating class. They just uploaded it to YouTube. And I found out about it last night and I watched it and it was like, that's when life was good.
Hmm.
And that's where, I think a lot of people try and use religion as a basis of how they do things. But, I'm Jewish. My mother's Jewish, my father's Catholic. So I was raised, learning about both, which was wonderful. And you had in the Old Testament in Leviticus 19:18 where that's the first time love thy neighbor appeared,
Hmm.
right? And then it appeared in the New Testament in Mark. And I just, we're at the point now where, and it's no fault of any of our own except for those people spreading the message to create that disturbance between neighbors, because now we see it all the time. And our neighbors are not the people we should be fighting with
No, not
at
at all.
this point.
Mm-mm.
And it's really discouraging, I think, to a lot of people. And I am now in the mindset where I can't necessarily concentrate on listening to the news every day and whatever, because that doesn't serve a purpose for me and it doesn't serve a purpose for the people I'm going to serve.
Right.
My job is to concentrate on them and what they need,
Right.
because chaos is going to come out of there and it's going to keep coming out of there every day for whatever reason. And it's meant to exhaust us. This is something from the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. You can continue that. It's my job to keep my head centered on what people actually need and how we can improve on that.
Mm-hmm. What are some of your constituents asking for? What are their needs there?
Well, here in Pennsylvania especially, we have been in a fight to raise the minimum wage. Our minimum wage here is still at the federal level of $7.25.
Wow.
I actually have an intern coming onto my team, and he studies at a university now. But even when he was in high school, it's like, how are we supposed to save up for college and do all these things at 7.25? And it was a big gripe for the younger generation. And I think sometimes the younger generation has been forgotten. You know, obviously the working class and middle class have been forgotten. The lower income families have always been forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you take all of us, we're the majority of the people.
We are. We are.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
And the things that we let divide us is just ridiculous. It makes no difference in the grocery market.
It makes no difference. I can tell you, I just got over like that super flu. I got sick right before New Year's. I was down for like 10 days. I still have this cough. I'm trying to make it through this show without my cough. But when you have this spreading around and people's insurance bills have gone up 50%, 60%, 70%.
Yeah.
Because they didn't extend the, well, I like to call it the Affordable Care Act, but all the, health tax credits, okay? That hurts people.
Right.
In the Pennsylvania legislature, in December, I believe was it December? It might have, it was December. All they did was go to pass a resolution, okay? Not a bill, not a law, but pass a resolution saying, we're going to urge Congress to get their act together on this and expand this health coverage. There are people who still voted no, including my opponent, who is the incumbent. Why would you vote no on something as simple as telling? And there were a lot of Republicans that voted yes. So why would you hurt your residents knowing that the healthcare bills and insurance bills are going to go up when we're coming into flu season, for God's sakes? Like, why would you not even support saying, hey, Congress, we really need you to extend this so we can figure it out as a state what we need to do for our people?
Right.
Why would you do that? That's not helpful.
Right.
I see my girl Rebecca Perry on.
What's their response to that?
There has been none. I have seen no explanation from him. And let me say, I have not met him. I am not going to say whether he's a good guy or a bad guy or has good intentions or bad intentions when I have not sat down and had a conversation with him. But just looking at something like that, at least explain it. When I was on council and we had something that we and the public considered a big deal vote, I made sure to explain why I was voting for it. People may not have agreed. They may not have liked my explanation or my reasoning for doing it, but at least I gave them that information. And I think that all legislators should do that.
Right. Right. Is that too logical? Because, we had an argument, in the way that JaVonne and I do, about the Biden administration. And she voiced some of the things that she thought he could have done better, and I've been notoriously screaming at Biden and when he was in office, because I just don't think he gave the vice president much visibility, and my stuff is documented, right?
Yeah.
So is that too logical? Because, it's very human, and I agree with it. But at this point in the game where we are, making a statement like, no, if you don't understand what that is enough to want to edify your position on that, he said nothing else but no, right?
All he voted was no.
Right. Is it not difficult, to want to hear him out.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been as simple as like, and nobody knows for sure. Maybe there was some kind of amendment that could have happened that would have, you know, or comment that could have said, well, we'd like to urge this, but I mean, it wasn't a bill. It was not something that was going to become a law.
Okay.
But my thing is, if people elect you to be there and their taxes pay your salary, tell them why you wouldn't urge the federal government to extend this so we can figure it out so you can still have your health care and not see this raising costs when we see an affordability problem, we see high rates of unemployment. So at least explain why. What was wrong with saying to Congress, hey, listen, I really want you to extend this for my people.
Mm-hmm.
What was the point of, I mean, you might as well not vote at all.
Yeah. Who's paying you? That's where I go.
You know?
Immediately, who's paying you for this point of view? And, you know, because I can understand, you know, why certain corporations wouldn't want to do it. I can understand why, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like we're a bunch of people here that have nerve endings and feelings and families and things that we want to only because it benefits, you know, the broader scope says it benefits the government for everybody doing well and being able to make a wage that you can afford to pay, because ultimately what we're paying taxes, we're doing things to keep the good old corporation alive, you know?
Right.
So but if people are sick and hurt and can't work and all of these things, how does that benefit the infrastructure?
Right. And to be quite honest with you, Rez, I love that you said sometimes you were critical of the Biden administration. I am a Democrat, but there were plenty of things that I think he should have done that he didn't do.
Right.
Agreed. At the very beginning when he could have.
Right.
You know, the Equal Rights Act.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, that should have been codified. That should have been done at the very beginning.
Right. Right.
I mean, I think he should have expanded the court to make it more equal instead of
100
people who are there who are nothing but loyalists. Because that doesn't help anybody except for him. So, you know, there were things that he could have done that he didn't. And sometimes the Democratic Party, it's like we have a separation too. You have your Jasmine Crockett's, your AOC's, your Bernie Sanders, you know, your Representative Frost. You know, I love all these people. I love them. And then you have others who they know the game, but right now we don't see them fighting for us in this particular time the way they should be fighting.
Right.
You cannot fight with a bully, a lawless bully, by being nice. And I think a lot of people felt out of step with the Democratic Party because of that. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't work with some integrity.
Sure.
But sometimes,
100%.
Sometimes you got to be a little tough and call it out.
That's why I love Gavin.
You know? Oh, I'll tell you something. His PR team is amazing.
Yeah.
But there are things about Gavin that I don't know enough about yet to base that opinion on.
Right.
I loved Pete Buttigieg. And I loved Kamala Harris. I worked on her campaign. You know, I thought she would have been a fresh start. You know, and to see her now kind of going out there and telling people like her actual thoughts.
But okay, so
go ahead, Rez. Bring it on.
I tell you something. This is. I remember this because I was going batshit. I really was. I you know, I was like, bye. I said, where are you? At one point, I think I said something. You know, JaVonne has always been my muzzle, which is great because I need one, you know, at times. But you know, I do because I'm not, you know, I tend to want to get to the in-depth nature of things. And when I see that, somebody's being underutilized, like I said at one point, where is Kamala Harris? You know, and you know, JaVonne so eloquently explained to me that, you know, this is her role and I said, well, what has she done? We had a screaming match on the show one day. And I was just like, you know, he's not doing enough to edify and keep her out front as what she is actually educated and battle tested to do.
She was half of the reason why we voted.
Yes. And he knew that, but they knew that though. They knew that, right?
And vice presidents normally do take a back seat. They do. They have to handle their business. But in this particular case, I do think, like you, she should have been more on the forefront.
Yeah, there was nothing normal about this whole. We've been moving into the land of something different for a long time, right? So I think that he should have edified her under the qualifications of what she had,
Absolutely.
And it would have made it easier for her and for the American people to believe her. So that the biggest, slap to her face would not have been where you been, or you had a chance to do it and you didn't do it, and you lived under, all of those things that she had to combat, right? So, and she simply said to us, when she was running, that this is what's going to happen if we don't do something different.
Right.
And right now it's like she's like, I told you so. And this shouldn't be her campaign. I told you so.
And I feel like I'm Kamala. I could relate to her.
Oh, JaVonne.
I do. I relate to her 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like I was saying things, but I'm further in the background. Nobody's listening to me. I'm Joe Neckbone.
I think there's a point where we do have to acknowledge the fact that, we're not going to be here forever. We also have to set things up for the younger generation and where they're at. Right? So I loved Nancy Pelosi.
So did I.
She was a ball buster. She knew how to count a vote. She knew how to get her numbers. She was extremely impressive and iconic. However, it's like when AOC should have been accelerated into that chair position, Nancy Pelosi backed her friend who's like, I don't know, what is he, like 65, 70 years old, white guy, when they should have had a new voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because the younger generations are the ones who are going to either reap the benefits or have to tackle the demise of what we set forward. So I think it's important that we have I am one where I am 49 years old. I am not that person who is going to sit there in a chair when I'm 80, holding on to power. That is just not me. I think that I, can be there as long as I can be there. But I mean, let's just answer this honestly. And everybody out there can answer this honestly. How many people want to say, yes, I still want to be working when I'm 80?
No, I'm trying to.
I've been screaming.
We're lucky if we're going to be alive at 80.
Yeah,
why would you not say, you know what, after this age, I'm done, and make sure. And one of the best types of advice I ever got was from my particular rep that I worked for. And when I was running for office, she gave me two good pieces of advice. Number one, the people who are going to sit there and hate on you are not the people who are going to vote for you. So don't worry about them. You will serve them anyway when you win. And she said, number two, one of your jobs is to make sure you have or mentor somebody who can be the next person in line, because you may not always be here. Make sure that there's somebody to pass the reins to. And I think like parents pass the reins to their kids, as people in the political realm, we should have people that we know and that have been through the process that can, kind of carry on that torch when we get too old where we shouldn't even freaking be there. How can you have a congressional member who was never in meetings for however long because she was in a nursing home and nobody knew? How do you do that?
Right.
I know.
I mean, logical point. Yes, things can be logical. I'm a former educator. I was a good teacher because I made things logical.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's not brain science.
Speaking of logic, as you see, I have a nickname, and you can absolutely not answer this question, Jess. Like, I kind of already. Is it me? I'll do it as Funky Geneva does it. Is it me, or should Mitch the Glitch sit down at this point? And we have a question online that says, "What do you feel about should Chuck Schumer step down?"
All right, so let me take Mitch McConnell. You know what? He again is somebody who has been long-standing. I do not agree with him in any way, shape, or form. However, I will say that he did stand up for vaccines because he experienced polio as a kid. So, like during COVID, he, was pretty well framed on that. When somebody's at the podium and freezing, it's time to go.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were at a point where I couldn't sit there and even speak to the people and make a decision because of whatever health reason that I'm going through, at that point, if I am 75, 80 years old, I think that and he's not going for reelection, so that's good. I think he waited too long, but he's not seeking reelection.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Schumer, and again, Chuck Schumer is somebody who we could consider to be iconic for the years of service that he has been there.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a good legislator. Again, I feel like when I watch his press conferences, it's like there's no more fight there.
Mm-hmm.
Even in his voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the thing is that even though they're older and maybe it's time for them to step down, they still care
Mm-hmm.
of what happens. And I think it's very hard when people do care that much to stop being in that position where they're trying to help. I do think that Chuck Schumer should pass the reins. I really do. It's not because I don't like him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I don't think he is fantastic and also iconic.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's at a point where we need that freshness and that spirit that we're just not seeing in a lot of our older legislators anymore. Now, Bernie Sanders, keep on going. Bernie has more fight in him than the majority of people that I see on that floor.
But they can also serve as mentor. Like I believe in term limits. I think every position, if the president has them, everybody needs to have them, particularly that Supreme Court. Because we wouldn't be in the position.
Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, because it doesn't serve us to have people rotting and dying off on these points of view sometimes.
Yeah. And many of them, as they get older, they've made their money. They've, I mean, not everybody is in it for money. I mean, I know I'm not. I'm in it to actually do something. But many of them, especially the iconic ones, they've made their living.
Mm-hmm.
Go relax with your families. Spend the time. And yes, mentor the next generation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
They have chairmen of, you can have an adjunct something going on, but they just need to be able to be there to give like the history and support and at that point maybe you raise money for or whatever it is, but I don't think you should be front facing anymore after 900 years on, because we know your opinions aren't going to change. They're not evolving with the world, some of them, not all, but some.
Yeah, I think there's a point where you lose touch with your actual constituency, and when that happens, it's hard to help them.
Mm-hmm.
People like Jasmine Crockett. She is my absolute favorite. That's my girl. She is young enough and she is brilliant and she makes sure that her feet are on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she works for the people. I adore her. I think AOC does the same thing. And there are a lot of people, I mean, you have to remember, I am within the Jewish community. There are a lot of people in my community that don't like AOC because they think she takes a certain stance. Or Bernie Sanders for that matter, and he's Jewish. But, I mean, so I think people a lot of times base their opinions on, just like voting, on some kind of single aspect of that person. But I do think that we need people there right now. We're in a unique situation where right now playing nice is not going to help, because there is somebody and a cabinet there, an administration there, who acts like we have no constitution and we have no law. The point of the Constitution was to evolve over time. And I don't know how they're making it evolve right now, because it seems like it was just written on the back of a matchbook in a bar, the way these people are treating it. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's a shame, because it's not helping anybody. And I have a lot of friends who are Republican. I have friends that voted for Trump once, if not twice.
Mm-hmm.
And in conversations with them, even they're not okay with what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a difference now between the Republican Party, the old school Republican Party, and the MAGA loyalists. There's a huge separation. So I can't sit here and say, oh, all Republicans are this or that, because that is not the case.
Right.
But it's whether they're going to stand up and say, you know what, we're done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Until you bring somebody like John McCain back that we can actually sit there and say he's got some integrity, we're done.
And that's what people, I think, from my POV, don't understand. Either you're going to say you're not with it and stand up, but the more you sit down, I'm going to merge you right into the MAGA bunch, because you're not visible. You're not saying enough about this. You're not outraged enough. And that's unfortunately what people are forced to do, because you're either trying to make a change or a difference, or you're complacent about what you see going on.
Yeah.
And
I think what people don't understand is, and even the MAGA crowd, it's like, they're trying to, we want, our land back, and they're, fighting against the BIPOC communities, the LGBTQ communities, the women. But what they don't realize is that, guess what? Once all of those rights are stripped away, they're coming for yours, because you're all that's left.
Facts.
So they're going to oppress you just like they oppressed everybody else. They just haven't gotten to you yet. But they are. They're chipping away. They just don't realize it yet.
Yep.
And that's what's sad.
That's exactly the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand that we all have more in common with one another that they have in common with them.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So, and like you said earlier, if we all got together, we're the majority of this country. We run this, and people just don't understand their power.
Mm-hmm.
So
how are you guys feeling with everything that's been going on?
Oh, like a sack of shit. This is crazy. Like, from Venezuela to the shoot, it's always something. Like, I literally do not have my television on, and I'm child censoring myself.
Mm-hmm.
Release the Epstein files. Release the files.
What is happening?
Redacted. Open it up. Open it
Yeah.
up. Let's see. Is Schumer on there? Is that why he's gotten quiet? I don't know. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he's not. I've never been to the island. Nobody invited me. Thank you very much. But I'm just saying, release the files.
They should have been released a long time. I said to Nathan James, who's watching this right now, and I said, you know what? They're not playing by the rules. I think our oversight committee should walk right on over to the DOJ, grab the boxes of files, and said, they're coming with us. Enough.
That's it.
What would happen if they did?
Release the files. See, here we go. If we could have completely unredacted files, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we could prove, because people these days, if there is information that is released that they don't like, they opt not to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And they believe, oh no, that's photoshopped, or that's AI. No, this is it. This is your boy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what happened. And it needs to be made simple and clear. This is what you're supporting.
Well, big campaign of the women that were saying, okay, you guys don't have to release them. We're going to tell our stories. And I think that we need to get, a documentarian behind these women and money behind these women to tell their stories to the American public. Period.
What I find just and I was trying to have the benefit of the doubt when and Massey's doing a wonderful job. Like, he's still pushing to release these files, the Republican. What disturbed me at this point is, for example, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, I was very impressed with her when she came up to the mic and said, listen, this needs to be told. And if I have to stand on that floor and read out the names that are in this file, I will do it. But she managed to retire and not do it before she left. Which I felt like, I was like, she left before they even got on the House floor. So she didn't even deliver what she said she would. She had that chance. She had a chance to really rectify,
I'm wondering,
her years of service, and she did not do it.
Mm-mm.
And it's disturbing.
What? I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase this without, number one, insulting people, and number two, putting myself in some kind of situation. However, sometimes, and what they say, I don't have any proof of it, so it's just a thought, a possibility, a hypothesis, that Miss Thing with all that mouth got threatened in a particular way that made her sit her ass down and just decide to shut the fuck up and walk away. Excuse my language.
It is a possibility.
It's just a hypothesis.
But my whole thing is like, I mean, abuse of a child is not a political thing.
Right.
Allegedly, right.
Because it can happen to any child, no matter what your political party is. I mean, so there are things that should not be political. It should just be about what's right.
And do you hear them trying to justify who then is now a child? They're like, oh, well, 15 is barely legal. No, 18 is barely legal. 15 is not legal at all. Okay? Let's be clear.
It's a moving of the goalposts at every single turn.
And it's women. It's women. It was a woman who said that.
My father and I were having a conversation, and it's like, a lot of people, their justification is, well, back in the day, a 30-year-old would marry a 14-year-old, blah, 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 because she reproduces better or whatever. Back in the day, people died by 40 years old, not by 80.
Exactly.
Right. It's just common sense. Yeah. I think that's what we're missing here. We're missing common sense, and people are just allowing themselves to believe what they hear from either side instead of looking into it themselves.
Right.
And looking at all the facts. And that's one of the release the files. That's one of the issues.
Right.
That's why I encourage, and it's not sexy and it's boring sometimes, but when there is some kind of hot item of legislation that comes up, I read the legislation, I watch the committee meetings where they're discussing that legislation, I watch the final vote where they're going to debate that legislation, so I can hear what people are saying. Because that way the news can't spin it this way or that way in my eyes, because I hear it from the people who are the ones making the vote.
Right answer.
But most people either A, don't have the time, or B, don't care, or C, feel like they don't know how to go through that process to actually get that information.
And speaking of process, how can people support you, Jess? How can people support you? Where can they find you to be able to say, okay, here's where she's going to, or do you have this information yet in terms of where you'd be on the ballot too?
So we have to go through now. I'm fortunate that as of what I understand, I will not have a Democratic primary opponent, so I will be on the primaries, which is good.
Nice.
And then, of course, the general election is in November. So it's I can pretty much start campaigning and reaching out and formulating everything now as if I'm going towards November. That makes things a little bit more comfortable, because when I ran for council, I mean, I took over for somebody, so I had 8 weeks to run a race. I had 8 weeks till the general election.
Wow.
So that was rough. But this
Right.
is also 10 times the amount of people. We're talking the difference between 10,000 people and, well, I mean, actually not 10 times, but now we're talking about 70,000 people
Okay.
in this particular district. So that does, create, more of a time frame on how I have to reach out to people. But from working on other campaigns, even locally, what I loved was many times for other campaigns, I managed the phone banks.
Okay.
And we had people from all over the country that would join in and make phone calls on behalf of a local election or our state Senate special election. So it's important for people to know that no matter where you live, you can help.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where you live, you can donate.
Mm-hmm.
I am not going to take corporate funds.
Okay.
If somebody tries to put corporate funds in there, because I'm sure somebody's going to try something sneaky and just to whatever,
Right.
we will send it back. Period. I do not want to be owned by a company. If that was the case, I would work in corporate America, and I do not. So, you can donate from anywhere. You can join our phone banks from anywhere. And that's where it's, a lot of people have friends all over the place. If you have friends in Philadelphia, they might know people in Lancaster. Like, we all do connect in some way, shape, or form. I mean, my friend Nathan introduced me to you guys.
Right.
Exactly.
So we
you have
do.
a website or anything? If
I do. So, and it goes over some of the main issues that I'm tackling, as well as information about me. You can donate there, and you can also email us to volunteer in any way, shape, or form. So if you go to the number 4, jess4pa.com, you can find all the information there. And you can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky, Jess4PA. Again,
So
four.
the hashtag, that's a hashtag too.
PA proud is a hashtag.
Yes.
Because this campaign is people powered, and we are PA proud.
Nice. Love that. Love that.
So that's how we're rolling it out. And any help, whether you can donate $5 or $10, whether you can say, hey, listen, come October, I'll help you phone bank for the general election, whatever it is. And I don't care if you're in Massachusetts or California. I remember working with people who called in from Alabama for some of our races up here. So I think it's really important that we all stay involved.
Mm-hmm.
And we're more than happy if somebody sends us an email through the website. We will contact you directly, even just to answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, that's important, because I remember being up here waiting for Georgia, and all eyes were on Georgia. So it's important that, you do connect, because it's not isolated. You're not in a cocoon. Again, like, this affects the world, Man.
It's going to be a tall order, but we're here to do it, and hopefully we can make some really good changes and some really good progression here in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
We are the battleground state, and we are the battleground state for a reason. The state of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, throughout every major event in history, has been like a pivotal partner.
Yep.
It's crazy. I mean, between the coal industry being the fire, in Scranton and Wilkes-Barre, now in town, and Pittsburgh being like the steel machine. I mean, even every world war, our industries have been a pinnacle in that. And the people are the ones who built those industries. So it's time to bring it back.
Absolutely.
All right.
Jess, I want to thank you again for sharing your wonderful news that you're running for House in your state, and we support you. And
Thank you.
Come back and let us know how it's going. Not that we, honestly, Jess, I don't know if you realized it or not, but we haven't been doing this show since March of 2025.
Well, you hurt your shoulder, so you were recouping too.
You remembered.
Of course. Of course.
But you are, special, and what you're doing is important. And when we look back, years from now to say, hey, well, we had an opportunity to support, to do something. What did we do? This is a step in the right direction of doing something positive for our country, which is supporting Jess Branas.
Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
President Branas.
Oh, no.
We going with that.
I don't like the traffic in Washington, and so my ass isn't going to drive around there. I will hold it down in Harrisburg. How about that?
You know what's funny? The president really doesn't get to drive much. The president gets driven, and as we have seen, you can have a primary residence wherever else you want. You know what I'm saying? And if it's what the people so desire and so need, let it be.
Well, let me get to the house first, and then we can think about that. But as of right now, I think I'm pretty fine being at the state level, because we are the first line of defense at this point, especially with the current administration. So we have to do what we can on a statewide level.
And we appreciate it. Please keep us posted on everything that you do.
Will do, ladies.
Yes.
And with that, I'm gonna bid you all adieu.
Have a good one, everybody.
Yes.
Stay safe. Stay safe.
Yes. Keep your head on swivel.
Still in the basement, no longer alone, with my homegirl Terez on the microphone. Music, politics, or just chatting it up. Brunch in the basement, see, that's what's up. You never know who might run through. Legendary artist or someone brand new. You miss a lot when you miss one day. At least that's what I heard somebody say. But it doesn't really matter what whoever says. It's always a good show with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Brunch in the basement with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Let's see who we got today, or what we doing today, or whatever it is, it's gonna be good. Woo!
I love you all so much.
Just that's the first thing that
Adam and Eve.
we can see you now.
I know, and thank God.
Yeah. That's generally the response we get from everybody, but we keep it clean.